Hi everyone, this is Tevi live from room 114. This is our last unit, everybody, on JFK, LBJ, and the Vietnam War. So we're starting today with part 1, JFK and the New Frontier. So guys, this first slide, I just want you kind of to get a sense of who this new president is. So he did fight in World War II in the Pacific Theater. Here's some pictures. There's him with his PT boat. Decorated officer. And the family that he brought to the White House, his wife Jackie and his 2 kids. So guys, the family really was a new image for the White House of youthfulness and values and morals. So guys, let's get right into number 1, the election of 1960. So you want to put down, guys, that it was the first televised debate. So it had 4 actual televised debates. So put down that JFK Kennedy was he was Catholic, and he was from a wealthy, influential family from Massachusetts. Richard M. Nixon, on the other hand, was from a Quaker background. He had been Eisenhower's VP, and he had kind of grown up with a family that struggled financially, more of a working class. And so I'm going to show you guys some pictures of the debate. And so really on screen you'll see Kennedy kind of seemed outgoing and relaxed, and Nixon kind of looks a little more stiff and formal. So here they're pictured, and then here is a picture of them from their televised debates. One more. And so guys, both candidates portrayed themselves as cold warriors. So they also, promised to boost the economy, but they differed on how they would do that. So Nixon was worried about inflation, and that he had the better foreign policy background. So that's how they differed. Like I said, there were 4 debates that really people believe had a big impact on the election's outcome. It was one of the closest in American history. Oh, and guys, I skipped. A little picture up here kind of shows his big Irish Catholic family. So guys, that's a point put down for Kennedy's Catholic faith was an issue, a big concern for the Protestants in our country at the time. And so what he did is he, in his speech, he told America that, no Catholic leader would tell the president, how to act. So, separation of church and state, he reiterated. So he reassured America. Okay, so we're almost done with number 1. Like I said, the 4 debates really had an impact on the campaign. And so like I said, it was one of the closest election results. So, you don't have to write down the numbers, but, Electoral College, was 303 to 219. So very close, and even closer in the popular vote. So guys, some of the issues that they addressed, are listed here. I already mentioned how religion was a factor and how to boost the economy. They differed. The missile gap was something that Kennedy brought up, claiming that the U.S. was behind the Soviet Union and that we needed to catch up. So that's one thing that kind of made him stand out. And so, like I said, guys, the election results were very close, more so in the popular than the electoral. And here's the famous inaugural address, which we'll listen to tomorrow in class. But guys, even though he won with a narrow margin, he did impress many Americans with his youthfulness, his optimism, and his good looks. His influential family certainly helped. But guys, in his inauguration speech, he declared, a torch has been passed. And he says, "My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." So the section I highlighted, I do want you to put down at the end of number 1. All right, guys, let's keep going. So number 2, guys, Kennedy takes office. His new plan to pass innovative legislation, guys, was called the New Frontier. He hoped to increase aid to education, provide health insurance to the elderly, and create a Department of Urban Affairs. He soon found out that many Democrats in the House, Senate, and and Congress, were not feeling like they owed him anything. It was too close between Kennedy and Nixon for him to have any clear allegiance in Congress, and so he found a lot of his ideas blocked. And so, guys, many viewed his plans as too expensive, and that it would increase the power of the federal government. So those were some concerns as he took office in early 1960. A couple things that he was able to do under number 3, guys, under successes and some setbacks, as he succeeded with economic growth by what is called deficit spending. You guys should know that term from today. We're currently doing it in our own government. So what that means, guys, is to create jobs in the areas. 2 areas, guys, were defense and space exploration. So creating those increases would stimulate the economy by putting more people to work. When in fact, we're still trying to balance the budget. So one thing he did that's kind of controversial is he threatened the steel companies. He wanted them to keep their prices down and also to try to control wages. And if they didn't, he would go to foreign companies for steel, for cheaper. So this definitely strained his relations with the business community. But he was really just trying to maybe control the economy a little too much, kind of like Teddy Roosevelt during the Progressive Era. Guys, he also said a rising tide lifts all boats. This is his justification for a cut in taxes. People said, hey, you're going to just help the wealthy, and he said, no, we're going to be having more money out there in circulation, so more jobs to benefit people. So Congress definitely blocked this. They blocked his plans for health insurance, for the tax cuts, and for federal aid to education. So all 3 were shot down. So guys, they did agree to raise the minimum wage and to help build low-income housing in poor areas with 2 acts, the Area Redevelopment Act and a Housing Act. So this definitely helped immigrant Americans and the minorities. All right, guys, on the next page, we just have 2 more short sections left. 4 was expanding women's rights. So I have a picture here of his Presidential Commission on the Status of Women, created in 1961. It was calling for federal action against gender discrimination and affirm the right of women to equally get paid. So he proposed this Equal Pay Act. So he, never appointed women to his cabinet, but a number of women did work in his administration. This is him here signing the commission. And here is the best part, I think, the Presidential Panel on Mental Retardation. So shown here is his sister. His sister's name is Eunice Kennedy Shriver, and she's a pretty amazing woman. So this panel, guys, made 112 recommendations. And so I have some bullets here, guys. So it called for things such as funding for research, into developmental disabilities. Called for educational and vocational programs for these people. Called for a greater reliance on residential, as opposed to institutional treatment. And also grants to provide prenatal services to women in low-income groups so that they'd have healthy pregnancies. So Congress supported him on this one. So they enacted the Mental Retardation Facilities and Community Mental Health Center Construction Act. You don't have to know all those words, but just know that they supported it with legislation. So it definitely put the money into these programs. And so his sister, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, started a day camp at her home for children with developmental disabilities. So this was called Camp Shriver. It was really the first place for kids to be physically competitive. And so, guys, this effort grows. And so by 1968, we have the first Special Olympics held in Chicago. So, starting with here she is, helping a boy learn to swim, and here she is at the first Special Olympics. I just think this is one of those things that we all need to know, where it comes from. And so Kennedy's very progressive views on helping people with disabilities, starts here in the early 1960s, and we have that legacy all the way until today. This is Tevi signing off. I will see you guys all tomorrow. The bonus is, of course, my connection with JFK. He started a program called the Peace Corps, and so I served in the Peace Corps in the late 1990s in a country called Uzbekistan, and I taught English over there and lived with a host family that was Muslim and learned a lot. So we'll talk about that tomorrow, and hope you guys have a great night. Bye.